Hey everybody, Dr. Grant here, and today we're going to be talking about the ADHD nootropics I currently use to helping with ADHD. So how I want to explain this is some of my current patients I've been working with. I'm going to give a few case studies of recent patients that I've had, and I think this kind of gives a good example of what I typically will see and what kind of nootropics that I will typically recommend. So this first patient, male in his mid 40s, and some of the big problems that he was facing that a lot of people with ADHD will tend to face with is that he had focus issues, anxiety, low energy, lack of motivation and drive, poor memory, trouble at work, digestive issues, IBS, so irritable bowel syndrome, and GERD, so acid reflux. So he was dealing with these different types of issues. And whenever I'm considering different nootropics, what are going to be the best ones that work with this individual, I also want to make sure that we're not missing any other things in someone's medical history that needs to be also addressed so that the nootropics can work effectively, because that's very key. Just because you get the right nootropics, you also need to make sure everything else is dialed in so those nootropics will work. So the very first thing that I wanted to test was looking at his different neurotransmitters and amino acids that could be off and out of balance. And so the first thing that I did see and notice here is that you could see that he had some few key indicators of things that were off. And some of those was norepinephrine, as well as epinephrine, and also phenylethylamine. But other things that was kind of fascinating here is that his dopamine and his tyramine levels were elevated. And usually this has a lot to do with digestion issues, especially tyramine, because remember, he had irritable bowel syndrome, he had digestive issues, he had GERD. And so some of the things that are really effective as far as when you're trying to use different nootropics. So the few nootropics that need to be used with this patient was DL-phenylalanine. It's something that I use pretty often. I would say probably about 70, 80% of the time, I will see this as an issue with people with ADHD. And this is a great nootropic to helping with memory, focus, motivation, and drive. And then using rhodiola and L-theanine to helping with his low norepinephrine and epinephrine. Now, this is very key, is also addressing the digestive situation. And so usually adding a probiotic can help a lot with the different elevations that are going on here. And I did some further testing too, to really just kind of clarify on this, and tested his gut flora, which was way off. And so this is why I needed to add the probiotics to his digestive piece, because 90 to 95% of our neurotransmitters are made in the gut. And so if that's not working properly, we need to make sure that we're addressing that. Okay. So another thing that also is really important for certain nootropics to work effectively is definitely still addressing the digestive piece, because if you're implementing and taking supplements and you're not utilizing and breaking down properly, then what's the point of taking the nootropics in the first place? And so with this patient also, his pH levels, so his stomach acidity levels were too high. And so, well, actually, sorry, no, it wasn't too high. It was too low. He wasn't producing enough stomach acidity. And that makes it very difficult for utilizing the food that you're consuming and also even supplementation. And so it's very important to make sure that you're addressing this. And so one of my favorite things to implement in this case is adding HCl. Betaine HCl pepsin has some different digestive enzymes. Sometimes I'll also add some pancreatic enzymes to help in breaking down the foods and to utilizing that. Okay. But if another great thing to also incorporate is you can't rely heavily just on supplements and nootropics, but you need to make those adjustments within your foods. And so I incorporate a lot of sour, bitter foods into his diet, which that helps increase digestive enzymes. And that really eliminated a lot of his IBS situation, his also gas and bloating, his acid reflux issues, which can be a culprit to someone's ADHD when they're not getting the proper nutrients that they need to of their digestive system working effectively. So another thing that's also important nootropic with this patient that I needed to incorporate was his cortisol levels were definitely way off, as you can see from this test. Now, why is cortisol important? And why do I consider this as an important current nootropic that I use pretty much with a good majority of my patients? Is because adults with ADHD tend to reach a state of complete burnout. And when you're complete burnout, it's hard to focus throughout the day. It's very difficult to focus throughout the day when your energy is really low and when your cortisol levels are low. And so a good thing to incorporate is adrenal desiccated. Now, for about 3 months, I wouldn't go that more than that. You usually want to take a break in between, but usually the first thing in the morning and midday when your test levels are like this. Now, in some other cases, we might see them spiked, and treatment would be different. And this is why it's very important to test beforehand before implementing something like adrenal desiccated, because it can make things worse if your cortisol levels are spiked, which does happen as well. But when they're low like this is when it's good to make sure that you take it first thing in the morning and afternoon. And that not only will help improve the energy, but also your focus, and also help in managing your stress too, which is very vital for people with ADHD. And it's a great nootropic that I like using. Now, some other things to also keep in mind is things like, different like tyrosine or phenylalanine, some of these other different nootropics that we can use. But there's also important things as far as micronutrients. Micronutrients are what I call the ingredients for helping making a lot of these different other things in our brain chemistry to work effectively, right? So it isn't always just looking at nootropics, but other different vitamins that can come in play. Now, B vitamins are considered kind of like a nootropic because they do impact a lot with energy and focus and so many different other things. And so, but with this patient, you could see here his vitamin B2 levels were low, vitamin B6 levels were low. Vitamin B6 is really, really critical. I can't remember if I don't have a diagram. But the thing is, why vitamin B6 is so important is because when you're looking at, for example, PA, which is phenylethylamine, which helps convert to tyrosine, which then to L-DOPA, and then to dopamine, and then so forth. Now, vitamin B6 is an important ingredient, what we call as cofactors, to go from PEA to tyrosine, from tyrosine to L-DOPA, and from L-DOPA to dopamine. So you better believe vitamin B6 is critical. And if it's low, that is something that's going to be a very key indicator for making a difference when it comes to your ADHD symptoms. Okay. Another big one for this person was vitamin C. I just blocked it out. Let me erase that. So vitamin C, as you can see that this person's vitamin C levels were low. Now, why is vitamin C important? It also is an important cofactor for a lot of these different processes here. A lot of different neurotransmitters requires vitamin C. Now, if you are deficient in vitamin C, you better believe it's going to be very difficult to making these different neurotransmitters. We're having a sufficient amount, so therefore you're going to have lack of motivation, drive, and focus. Okay. Vitamin D, just like this patient, his levels were low. This not only can impact your energy, can impact your immune system, but it also will impact your focus, because vitamin D is also an important cofactor for a lot of these different things, neurotransmitters that are necessary. So if you're deficient, it's very difficult to implement all the different types of nootropics in all the different things you're trying to do to improve your different neurotransmitter pathways in order to have better focus and motivation and drive. Okay. So once we incorporate all those things, that is where it made such a huge difference, because we incorporated the B complex, vitamin C, vitamin D, and the other different nootropics I just mentioned in here. And as soon as we did that, he not only had better focus, motivation, improved energy, his IBS, digestive issues were gone, all those things, and his stress levels were gone, because we were able to pinpoint specifically what were the things that he needed specifically, and not just guessing it with trying different nootropics. That's why investigative work is so critical in order to get the results. And that's how we get the results for our patients and clients. Now, let me give you another case study. This individual, she was in her mid-30s. And, she also had focus issues, stress and anxiety, low energy, lack of motivation and drive, but she also was having issues with poor memory. She had trouble at work. Her mood was changing frequently. She had depressive symptoms and not being present at all. And so in her case, different than the previous patient I had. So you can see here, she is low in every kind of metric. Phenylalanine levels are low, tyrosine levels are low, tyramine levels are low, dopamine levels are low. All these things are low, but also her serotonin pathway, her GABA pathway, all those are also low. Not a good situation. This is why she was feeling very depressed. She couldn't be focused, having memory issues, and couldn't be present. So in her case, a little bit of difference here. is one, definitely incorporating Dopa Boost, because Dopa Boost has quinoperines in it, which has L-Dopa, also green tea extract. Also, it has vitamin B6, activated form of vitamin B6, and this helps a lot with this pathway. So the whole dopamine process. So this is a great nootropic to use if you have something that looks like this. Okay. Also incorporating D-L-phenylalanine because she was also low, just like the previous patient. L-theanine because it helps a lot with dopamine as well, and B-complex because typically we'll. I didn't show it in this one, but she also had low different B vitamins, so we wanted to incorporate that. The other thing also here is looking at the serotonin pathway. So she had two things, really that actually three things. I forgot to put it in here, but serotonin, because that is low, L-tryptophan is a really good one to incorporate. Because that does help improve serotonin levels. Also, 5-HTP can be a great one. I added glycine in here because her glycine levels were low. But also, I forgot to put it in here, but I also incorporated GABA because her GABA levels were low. And that's why she was having a hard time managing her stress and anxiety. That was happening frequently. And so these were really critical to incorporate those. But one other thing that, well, actually a couple more things that I wanted to check out with her. Obviously looking at cortisol because of her low energy and her depression and her focus. And sure enough, her cortisol levels were low first thing in the morning and also in the mid-afternoon. And so what we did is wasn't it going to the next one? Is adding the adrenal desiccated first thing in the morning and mid-afternoon. But one other additional thing, sometimes I like to look at hormones, especially with their history, especially if their moods are out of balance, just like this individual was, and her DHE levels were low, which can impact over time estradiol and testosterone because it helps make those things. So I incorporated is DHEA. So once we made those adjustments, made those things where we're very specific for her and her needs, a lot of her symptoms were gone. She was able to have better mood. Her depressive symptoms were gone. Her anxiety and stress diminished significantly. And her focus and her memory improved drastically because we specifically targeted what she needed and not just trying different random nootropics. So these are the nootropics that I see over and over time again, but it depends on the person. So these are just two different cases that I showed of examples that I see, but I'll see different variances of different things. And so, I just ask, would you like to be able to get those same types of results? Would you like to know this information for your own ADHD? Because what it does is it requires further investigation to understand truly what do you need to investigate? What are your root causes of your problems with your own ADHD? And that's why it requires lab work to understand the true identification of your symptoms of what's causing this. And then you would know specifically which nootropics and what treatment plans that you need to be incorporating that are going to get you the results. And so what I'm offering is a time to meet with me, booking a consultation with me. It's called a Focus Mindset Strategy Session. And so in this Focus Mindset Strategy Session, it's a 45-minute time with me and it's an appointment. It's a $750 value where I dive in deep into your medical history to understand the issues and the challenges that you're dealing with your ADHD and also determine what would be the best labs to incorporate and what action plan to be putting together. And so along with that, if you do purchase today, I do also give you access to our nutrition lifestyle tracking app that I give to all my patients and clients when we enroll them. And so it's great value because it's a way to track all the different symptoms, all your different metrics of your blood pressure, sleep issues, energy issues, stress levels, all sorts of different things, and tracking your foods. And then also if you do purchase today, I do give you access to my ADHD health course. That's a $597 value. And so it's a total value of over $1,000, and you get that all for just $297. So if you're interested, all you got to do is just click on the link in the description below. Once you've clicked on that link, it'll take you to this page. You go ahead and book the consultation now. Click on that button. Once you've done that, you'll put your information in to purchase. Now, this is very important. Once you have purchased, you're not done. You still need to book your appointment with me or with one of my health experts. So you hit that button and then you book a date and time. If you want to be meeting with me, make sure to select me, Dr. LeGrand. Or if you have my times don't work as best for you, then we do have other health practitioners that you can also meet with as well. And then you also will fill out your information, real simple, and then I'll take you to this landing page. Now, that's very important. Once you've finished this, it'll take you to this landing page, and you will need to check your email to make sure to confirm your appointment. Make sure you got that email. Also, to please activate your Practice Better account. This is how you get access to the nutrition lifestyle tracking app, but also you need to fill out the client questionnaire. So this is a very in-depth, thorough client form, patient form that you need to fill out before our appointment together. Please fill this out at least a couple days before your appointment so I have time to look over it. And this is how I determine what labs are going to be the best and what kind of action plan to put together. It's very thorough, so please take the time and doing this beforehand. And then also make sure to block out 45 minutes to an hour. Sometimes we need to go a full hour if you have more questions. Also, do show up early. I give you a 10-minute grace period. And then if you do have a significant other or spouse, I do require that they are there. It helps me understand the challenges that you're facing, especially if there's some marriage issues, relationship issues, also the outside perspective. I do like them present there. So please keep that in mind when you're booking a date and time for that. So if you are really wanting to finally tackle your ADHD, and this is the opportunity, this is finally to dive in deep, the root causes, and understand what truly is going on, and not just looking for another nootropic, but finally getting the results. This is the natural thing is to book in that consultation with me so I have time to deep dive and understand your situation with your ADHD and get to the root of the problem. So I would love that opportunity and have that opportunity. So all you got to do is click on that link. And thank you guys so much for attending, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Thanks.